If you're in the world of finance or compliance, you know that global risk, well, it never takes a day off. And just last week, the world's financial watchdog dropped a pretty big update with immediate, and I mean immediate consequences for your work. So let's break down what just happened. So let me ask you something straight up. Look at today's date. Is your risk framework, your entire compliance playbook, really, truly up to speed? Are you absolutely positive it accounts for the very latest global standards that just came out? Because, there's a good chance it's not. If you haven't factored in the latest decisions from the Financial Action Task Force, your risk assessments are probably already out of date. The regulatory map has literally been redrawn, and we're about to show you exactly what that new landscape looks like. So where are all these critical updates coming from? Well, they're coming straight from the watchdog itself, the Financial Action Task Force, or FATF, right after its big February 2026 plenary meeting. Okay, so for anyone who needs a quick refresher, the FATF is basically the global body that sets the rules of the road for fighting money laundering and terrorist financing. You can think of them as the architects of the world's financial immune system. So when they issue new guidance, financial institutions don't just listen, they act. Their decisions carry a ton of weight. Right, so here's the quick rundown. The FATF met from February 11th to the 13th down in Mexico City. And the big headline? A major shakeup of their jurisdiction list. The list that pretty much dictate how you assess risk on a country-by-country basis. And this brings us to the real meat of the changes. The FATF has two super important lists that every single compliance pro needs to know inside and out. And guess what? They've just been updated. Let's break down what these two tiers of global scrutiny really mean. Let's get really clear on these two tiers. On one side, you've got the gray list. Think of this as a warning shot. It means a country is now under increased monitoring and has to get its act together to fix some serious issues. On the other side, high-risk jurisdictions. This is a full-on red alert, a call for immediate action that signals huge problems requiring serious countermeasures. So what does a gray list designation actually mean for your day-to-day? Well, in short, your job just got a lot more complicated. You are now required to apply enhanced due diligence, or EDD. That means way more intense monitoring of transactions and a much closer look at any cross-border activity. It's a clear signal to turn up your vigilance. Now, if a jurisdiction gets hit with that high-risk label, well, the requirements jump to a whole other level. We're not just talking about monitoring anymore, we're talking about applying active countermeasures. This can mess with correspondent banking relationships and forces you to bring in much, much stricter screening and onboarding for any clients tied to that country. The risk is considered that severe. But this meeting wasn't just about country lists. The FATF also signaled where its focus is heading next. And it's in a space that's changing finance as we speak. Digital assets. This really is the new frontier. So here's what's on their radar. They're going after the risks tied to crypto and all the new ways criminals are committing cross-border fraud. But the really big one is closing the gaps in the travel rule. That's the requirement for crypto platforms to share sender and receiver info, just like banks do for wire transfers. They are pushing for much stronger enforcement around the globe. Let's be crystal clear about what this all means. This is not just talk, this is the writing on the wall for crypto platforms and the whole fintech sector. It's a direct signal that regulatory pressure isn't just continuing, it's ramping up. The watchdog is watching this space very, very closely. Okay, so you've got all this new info. What do you do right now? This brings us to the most important part of this whole explainer, your immediate action plan. It's time to translate this global policy into your local, everyday practice. If you only take away one thing, please let it be this. An update from the FATF isn't something you file away for a quarterly review. No, it is an immediate drop-everything compliance trigger. The second these lists get published, the clock starts ticking on your response. So what does that response look like? It's a pretty clear four-step process. 1. Review the new lists immediately. 2. Update your internal country risk scores. And I mean now. Not next week. This is not a next week kind of task. 3. Tweak your transaction monitoring rules to match the new risk levels. And 4. Beef up your due diligence procedures for any client or transaction connected to these newly flagged jurisdictions. Every single step is crucial. This quote from the source material just says it all. You have to think of these FATF classifications as live operational risk indicators, like a flashing red light on your dashboard. They demand an immediate adjustment of your defenses. There is absolutely no ambiguity here. And so we'll end on this question for you to take back to your team. The world of financial risk is constantly shifting, constantly evolving. So the question you have to ask is, are your compliance measures moving right along with it, or are they static? Because in this environment, standing still is probably the biggest risk of all.
Hello, my name is Akbar Safdari, and I am an AML and compliance instructor. Welcome to the North America AML and Compliance Academy, also known as NAACA. On this channel, I provide clear and practical training on anti-money laundering, KYC, counter-terrorist financing, compliance regulations, and financial crime prevention, designed for professionals working in banking, financial institutions, fintech, and regulated businesses. If you would like to enroll in our courses and receive an official training certificate, please visit our website, www.naacacademy.ca. Thank you for learning with us.